Working with audio. Audio is incredibly important for when you're creating a video. Um, and there are lots of things that you can do in iMovie in order to make your project more successful. You'll notice here in the timeline that you have these waveforms. And if you don't see this, you can just go to the little film strip right here and you can check to show waveforms. And this is the audio that's associated with a particular clip, right? So you can turn that off, on and off, and when you're going through and you're actually looking at your footage, you can turn the skimming on and off. So right now I don't hear the audio, my audio is off when I'm skimming. If I go to view, audio skimming, now when I go through you can hear the audio. And that's pretty useful to have on while you're doing audio edits. So like I said, this is the waveform area. And you can make adjustments to raise or lower the audio for an entire clip here. So if you want to change or lower the audio for an entire audio clip right here, you can simply put your mouse over the line that shows up and you can drag it up or drag it down. So that's something that you can work with. And now, none of my audio clips are too loud, but you'll notice that the peaks start to turn yellow or red, and that's a warning that that section is too loud and maybe distorted. And that's when you very much need to go in and adjust your audio. So here I'm going in, I can make it louder or quieter or reduce it all the way for a particular clip. Now what if there's a section in the clip that you want to work with and not the whole entire clip? Well, that's really easy, and so I like to go in and make sure that I sort of zoom into the section. It's much easier to work with the audio if you're going in that way. And you can make little keyframes. Just bring your mouse over and control click, and you make a little keyframe. And make sure you make 2 of them if you want to do some sort of adjustments, like I want to fade in my audio. And I can go in and I can edit these keyframes to make it smoother, and it just fades in the audio. If there's a particular section like right here that I want that section to be sort of muted, I just control click, control click, control click, control click, and I make the 4 sort of dots, and then I can drag that particular section down. So say if you're doing some sort of audio and someone says something, you can get rid of just sort of that word. It's very useful. And like I said, it's very particular. Your mouse has to be hovered over it specifically where you want to work with. So I find really making my clips a lot bigger, zooming in a lot, really helps with working with audio. So remember, fading in audio at the beginning of a clip can make your video much more polished, and you can adjust the specific part of the audio, not the whole entire audio. Those are also things that you can do. And if you want to get rid of one of these keyframes, you just right click and you can delete a keyframe. And so you can always go in and delete any adjustments that you made. So I can go back in and I can delete those keyframes. And remember, that's right click or control click, and you can delete those keyframes. So there's also audio adjustments in the adjustments panel. So if I select my clip and I go up here to my adjustments panel, you'll notice right here there's this little speaker, and this is the volume control. And this is where you can also change the overall volume of your clip, and you can lower volume of other clips, and that's if you have clips that are layered with this clip. You have other audio that's, say, below it, it will automatically lower that audio. So that's something that's very useful. Say you have a soundtrack going on, but you have in this one someone saying something. If you click this button right here, lower volume of other clips, it will lower the volume of, say, the soundtrack or a video, another video that's being played with it. So that's something very useful. And you can always change the amount that things are being sort of set, and you can also go in and reset it. There's also something called the noise reduction and equalizer, and it's right here. You can reduce the background noise and sort of change the equalizer. And what does that mean? To reduce the background noise, you just select that option and you change the slider to increase or decrease the amount of reduction. This works by analyzing the audio in the clip and tries to identify frequencies that represent background noise. And background noise refers to the fairly constant sound throughout a clip, such as the ambient sound of a room. The equalizer over here, or EQ option, which has 8 presets to boost different ranges of audio depending on what you want to achieve, such as voice enhance, music enhance, loudness, hum reduction, bass boost, bass reduce, treble boost, and treble reduce. And the default is flat. And this is something you would just go in and you would change, and you'd see what it actually sounds like if I do music enhance, and does that do anything? Or does reduce background noise, does that do anything? So that's something to go in and sort of play around with and see if that helps the audio of your clips. Now, if you want to add music or sound effects, again, if you go to the content library, you have access to iTunes if you have anything in iTunes, and we don't currently have anything there. You also have access to the sound effects and GarageBand. And you can also use any MP3, iTunes, AAC, or any other QuickTime compatible audio format in iMovie. You just simply drag them into iMovie, and you can drag them onto your timeline. So if you want to use any of these sound effects, you just go to the sound effects bar and you double click it, and this gives you access to all different sort of sound effects. You can also go up here and there's a folder. If you have iLife, it has a bunch of the sound effects here as well. So there's a bunch that you can use. There's also the theme music if you want to use any of those. Basically the same as anything. You can, that's loud. Just click play to get a preview of that sound effect, and then you just drag it over your clip. And you'll notice that it gets dragged right beneath it. Now, if you take any piece of music or anything like that and you drag it to the very bottom, you'll notice here, this is where it becomes the background music. So whereas this is connected to actually a piece of your clip and it will move with your clip, when it's the background music, when it's all the way in the bottom, it's not going to change if you move your clips around. So notice here the yellow waveforms, that means it's very loud, and this is when you would want to go in and sort of lower the clip volume. So that's the difference between a background music and just adding sort of music and sound effects. And the same thing that goes with any of the things that we've used. You can go in, you can change the volume, you can make the volume low for specific parts, and if you go to a specific piece of your clip right here, and you go to the volume and you lower the volume of other clips, you'll notice the volume of that background music is changed. It's lowered because you've selected that option for that particular clip. So those are some useful things to work with. Now let's talk about adding voiceover. iMovie gives you this great option of using voiceover. And the advantage of recording directly in iMovie is that you can watch your videos as you speak. So basically, what you want to do is go to Main Menu, Window, and there's an option here called Record Voiceover. So let me look for that one, Record Voiceover. And you'll notice now you have these little options here, X, a little microphone, and this little sort of slider. V is the shortcut. So the button all the way to the right will give you sort of your options. Input source, the volume that you'll be recording at, and if you want to mute your project while you're recording your video. And so I'm going to change this to the microphone that I'm using, and you'll notice that my microphone lights up as I speak into it, letting me know the volume at which I'm speaking. This is the sound level indicator. You can also select, whether you want to mute your project or not, and sometimes it's a good idea to mute your project so that the audio is not distracting you while you're recording. And when you're ready to record, you just bring your playhead and you click to the part where you want to actually start your recording. So right there, I click my playhead, that's where I want to start. And you just select your little guy right here and you start recording. 3, 2, 1, then you're starting, you're ready to start recording. You say, oh, this is where people are doing this, blah, blah, blah. When I'm done, I just click that again. And then that audio is automatically added to my timeline. So that's something really useful to use. Another thing I want to talk about is extracting the audio from your clip And say, for example, you have audio from this clip right here and you actually want it to go underneath a different clip. If you right-click your clip, you'll see all these options. One of them is called detach audio. That detaches the audio from that specific clip, and you can use it around, move it around, and basically use it as its own independent clip. So that's also something very useful to use. The very last thing that I'm going to talk about is applying audio effects. So just like there were video effects, there are audio effects. So if I select a clip and I go up here to the video and audio effects, we talked about video effects. Audio effects are very similar. You just click on it and you'll get all the audio effects that pop up. To preview them, you just hold your mouse over them, over the icon. And that gives you a preview of what the audio effects will sound like. To apply, just like the video effect, you just simply click on it and it gets applied, and you'll see now it says which audio effect is in effect. And to remove, you just select the audio clip that you have and you can just reset it, or you can go in here and say none, either way. So that is using audio in iMovie.